Well, guys, some of our favorite stocks out there like Palantir stock, SOFI stock, NVDA stock got absolutely routed today. As we saw some de-risking taking place in the markets, we're going to take a look at those and also QQQ. We'll talk about potential levels for each one, talk about the fact that we have Jerome Powell coming up on Friday at 10 a.m. making comments following the Jackson Hole Symposium and what we should be listening for and what the market's most likely going to do. As a result of it, there's a ton in this video, so make sure that you watch and see. By the way, Saturday, 2 p.m. is my next options workshop. This is still a beginner workshop. We're going to move into more advanced versions of options, such as selling options, selling calls, selling puts, and then from that, there's a workshop also, the third level of that, which come along will be those bigger option strategies where we start to combine different buys, sells, you name it, with those options. Do iron condors, iron butterflies, call spreads, put spreads, bears, bulls, whatever, you name it. But this one is for the absolute beginner. The sign up, by the way, limited number of seats available. You guys can check this out. There's also a bundle where you can get the technical analysis workshop, the option workshop, and the crypto workshop. Only 9 seats left in that one. So the link's down in the description. Code word SAVE is going to save you 40% off your sign up. All of those workshops happen this weekend. Mine happens to be at 2 p.m. And if you click on the others, 8:24 is Mo's, and then 8:24 is also Crypto Will. So I'm Saturday, they're both Sunday. The times will all be listed there for you. So guys, I just want to show this to you. Not that, this one over here. There we go. Investors will be listening for clues. Jerome Powell, what's going to happen in September, Friday, 10 a.m. following what we hear from coming out of the Jackson Hole Symposium. So why is this important? Well, I'm going to show you in the charts. We're actually still shell-shocked from 2022, what happened with the Jackson Hole Symposium, and it's been a catalyst pretty much every year since for moving the market as we lead up to it. And this is very impactful for where we could approach the Jackson Hole Symposium up to Friday. So let's put the charts up there and we'll start talking about those. So let's put up the Qs. And let's go back to 2022. And the thing is, I don't need to look up the date for when that happened because you can actually see it on the chart. Just look for the big red candle towards the end of August. There we go. Friday, the 26th of August, 2022. We lost 4% in the NASDAQ 100 that day, and you guys can watch what exactly followed losing that 4%. So after we lost that 4%, we went all the way down and lost another 17% until we finally bottomed out on that thing, going all the way into October of 2022. This is what the market doesn't want to see, and that this is what the market is afraid of, is that Jerome Powell comes out and says something pretty darn nasty that we don't want to hear. So what happened back in 2022 is that Jerome Powell came out as mega hawk and like, we're going to be very aggressive at raising rates. Money's going to be more expensive. We're going to drop the liquidity. And the market went boom, and then dropped after that 4%. Like I said, another 17% beyond that. Just a big, ugly year that every time that we caught just a quick up, big old down would follow, an even bigger down than the one that came before until we finally hit market bottom. Like I said, in October of 2022, this time it's going to be more about, have they stayed tight for too long? Are they actually going to? And the thing is, if they have and they signal that there's going to be recessionary things coming our way, well, the market's not going to like that. If instead they signal that they haven't waited too long, that they're still good at where they are, that there's likely not a rate cut in September, well, then that means that we don't have the easier monetary policy coming our way. And one of the reasons that we saw outperformance for the Russell 2000 stocks compared to the NASDAQ 100, some of the reason for that outperformance is that it's still kind of hopeful that we do see that. Another part is that we don't see as much extended value with those Russell 2000 stocks like we saw with some of the bigger plays, especially where the big tech is concerned, with the NASDAQ 100. So let's put this back up here. Somebody did ask me at the last workshop, by the way, they asked about the market and, what I would do about call options, put options. And I talked a lot about the fact that we've had a choppier market these past few days. And that makes it a little bit different compared to when the direction is straight up. That once you start to get into that chop, you start to draw down a little bit. That overall market bias tends to drag on those call options, makes it a little bit worse. But if we go into an overall sell-off, well, then we can switch over to puts. I don't know that we have that evidence yet. One of those reasons I say that is we pulled back down to the 20-day before, which is where we find ourselves right now. So do we go mega bear on this? I don't think so. Now, I did talk in my morning video, hopefully you watched it. I talked about the near-term structure that we found ourselves in and what we could look for surrounding it, whether we broke out of the top or the bottom. And today, we actually broke out the bottom of that structure. So we were in this near-term bear channel. We fell out the bottom of it. As a matter of fact, if we go down to a smaller time frame chart, you can see as we look at that smaller time frame chart, we actually fell down through, retested the bottom trend line as resistance, and then tumbled off down through there even further. So if you were following my technicals, made them for yourself, you may have had a really nice trading day. As a matter of fact, for me, the fact that we're near this resistance, all those moving averages up to the north of this thing, it probably was a pretty nice day from the very beginning. That signaled that there could be, with some proper stops in place, a fairly good short opportunity being up near resistance in that channel, much like what we saw with end phase, which so far is actually faring kind of well. Now, mind you, there wasn't a lot of de-risking to happen for that one. A lot of the de-risking, I think, has already happened. The Qs, however, have been running along with a lot of big tech and stuff like that. So let's go back out to the daily chart. Now, mind you, let's go to monthly real quick. We'll go back to daily. Just look at the monthly chart for a quick moment. So today may be a little bit painful, but will you see what happened since October 2022 till now? Just an absolutely incredible and massive move. We might soften a little bit in the near term. I've said that before. And what are we looking for? Weekly, we're not anywhere close even to the 20 and the 50 and the 100 and the 200 that's on this thing. Let me take down the rays on this so they're not in our way. And if we drop down to if we put up the EMAs for that, we're still sitting above the 5 EMA, which is still a fairly bullish place to be. If we start to drop down below in that next week, well, then we start to worry a little bit more. If we drop down to a daily basis, there we go. We have the 5 over the 13 over the 20 that's on here. So still fine. If the 5 crosses down over the 13, the price action is down below it, then we can worry a little bit more. RSI is still up above 50. If we do push down, watch for us to find the 50 EMA and SMA. As of today's close, around 554, 555, that would be an excellent spot to find that value return. I don't know that we see it over the next couple of days. We could. We definitely could. Now, mind you, we might get all the way to 10 a.m. on Friday. We listen to Powell speak, and the market's like, there is nothing to worry about here. That day will likely set off the next rocket ship until we get at least to the point where we start to listen to what exactly is happening with those labor market reports, non-farm payrolls, and the unemployment rate. If we see those and those are sour, well, then the market's probably going to jerk back down again instead. But for right now, I think that being overly bearish, I still think the general direction's up. Even if we do still soften over the next several days, I'm watching to see where we get that movement. See if we get that 565 coming out of there. We have another shelf happening right around 557. Then we start to hit the EMAs that are down here as well. So we could see that softening. It could happen. And we do have those rays that I showed you that are still to the north of where we're at right now. And so we want to pay attention to those because they're going to be pretty darn impactful. And we want to see how it's setting itself up from here to see what that next move is. Right now, I'm watching to see for tomorrow, especially if we go to an hourly chart. There we go. I honestly think that we could still have a little bit of a pull up on this thing, especially given the low wicks that we get down here. We could pull back up and find ourselves right back at resistance and get rejected again. We could see it climb up like that. Something that I'll be watching for, especially if I'm able to trade the markets tomorrow. I hope that I am. Sometimes I get a chance to, sometimes I don't. If I do get a chance to, I share it over at the Discord. Links in the description. Code word doctor is going to get you 50% off. Let's move over to Bitcoin because on the monthly chart on Bitcoin, we're getting that look of those tweezers up there with those high wicks that are up, signaling that maybe we do see a little bit more softness in the near term. If we drop down to weekly, you can see a little bit more of the resistance, the trouble that we have right at about 120,000. And what happens, that selling pressure that comes in because we're not able to get a candle up there yet on a weekly basis. Let's drop down to a daily. There we go, the daily. And on the daily chart, we're down below the 20 and we're down below the 50 at this point in time. But what we don't have is a retest of that 50 to find out that it's resistance. That could still be coming our way. We still have those lows right around 112, and then we should also be looking down to about 110 on this thing, which is about where we'd be sitting on that 100-day. So we could lurch down a little bit further on this. We don't have to, but we could. Putting up the EMAs on Bitcoin for a moment, we have the 5 down below the 13, signaling a further sell from yesterday. We got that further sell today. So maybe this is a little bit more de-risking than what we saw for the Qs. People not wanting to go in overextended into a big catalyst like we have coming up on Friday. So Jackson Hole Symposium, pretty darn meaningful. Friday could turn out to be a very great day for us. Friday could also turn out to be not so great of a day for us. And so the market's going to prepare itself for either eventuality. It's going to de-risk down to a point, and then it's going to be like, all right, so I'm ready to be spring-loaded and fire from here. Or it's going to be like, all right, well, I guess it's time to flip things around and go short. So maybe not like bear market kind of short, but like take a little bit more risk off the table kind of short. So we're going to have to watch and see what we get from that catalyst. Now for NVIDIA, NVIDIA's down below the 513 and lost the 20 today. Engulfing candles like this usually involve a little bit more of a sell, and we actually have some fairly decent supports along the way. If I put this up here, we can pull back to 168 to 171, and we have the 50s not far below that at about 165. They're about a penny apart, 165.02, 165.03. That's if we continue to sell. The thing that we need to be worried about from here from a daily basis is getting back on top that 20-day. If that 20-day stays lost for us, well, then we head back down to the 50s to find out if they're going to hold as support, especially as the EMAs start to find their way across them. So over to SOFI. SOFI with this sort of engulfing candle after having that double peak at around $25 per share. We closed down below the 5 and the 13. We could see this thing push lower on us. This could be that time that we actually de-risk down to that $20 mark, maybe softer. $20 is the 50 EMA on this, and I do actually have a lot of lines drawn on this, and you guys can see just the heavy support that we have that happens to be right here in this area down below that goes from about $20 per share, almost, well, I guess this is around 21, 20's down at the 50, and then we get even heavier support from $18 to $19 per share. And so whether it's NVIDIA or SOFI or Palantir, which I'll cover next, I got to tell you that I really am looking for some good opportunities for those, some really discounted prices. Once again, I don't know that now's the time that we see it. I think now's the time that we might see a little bit of further de-risking up until Powell speaks on Friday. And then we replan from there. So we'll watch what tomorrow gives us. And some other things about SOFI, if we put up the simple moving averages on this, we are still north of the 20-day, which is this blue line on here, which has been really solid support, which is where we find those really long bottom wicks coming off of that. We're north of it, but an engulfing candle on that on relatively good volume, above average volume, we might push down a little bit more. So we'll watch and see what they give us. For Palantir, this one I talked about the rising wedge pattern we saw on the hourly chart. And, well, we finally got that sell-off on this one. Big old de-risk on this one. And people have been talking about the valuation for a while. And the thing is that people will come on and they'll be like, Palantir's worth every penny and more. Well, good. If that's the case and you're a long-term investor, well, then you have your game plan, don't you? And then for me, I don't have a position, but I want one. I would absolutely love a good solid position in Palantir. So let me put this back up here for you. So for Palantir, what do I think we'll see? Well, first of all, the 50 is right down here at 152. And guys, there's a ton of support that happens to be down here in this area. So if we do sell down further, we have the 50, and then just south of that, going all the way from 142 up to about 151, including, I believe the 38.2 is in here. 23.6. Give me just a moment. Boom, that one. Perfect. So yeah, we have a really important set of Fibonacci's in here. 23.6s, 68.2s, you name it, right in the middle of this, actually about 146. If we just poke down through the 50, we could find ourselves in really good shape, solid territory for that bounce. So as things get a little bit scary and we de-risk, that rocket ship could be coming. Those 50s are close, and just south of that is even more support. So I don't know that Palantir, if they are going to fall further, they have a very big cushion, a very big mattress just sitting down beneath where they're at. It's the same thing for SOFI. NVIDIA, it's not too far south from where it currently is right now. So if we de-risk a little bit, we could find ourselves a nice little resting point, if you will, kind of reset the momentum a little bit, especially where Palantir is concerned, and then we find that next rocket ship moment. If September also goes sour, then maybe October, depending on what kind of sour we get, maybe October is too, but I still think that Q4 has a very bright green color to it. But we're going to have to watch and see as things unfold for us. And if we get just fear, or if we're going to get fear and then confirmed fears. Confirmed fears are different because they rip down a little bit harder on us. And once they squeezed every last dime out of the retail traders and get people to finally let go of their favorite things, then Wall Street, the hedge funds, the institutions swoop in and scoop everything up at discounted prices. And we get sad about it. So, and then some people would jump back in at the top. My job here coming out to YouTube is to talk to you guys and kind of give a little bit of that support, give a little bit of that comfort, if you will. Matter of fact, the Discord, where you have a community of thousands of people and a whole panel of experts, a whole team dedicated to helping you in this process, support you through this process, work on your journey towards financial freedom, help you with building alpha in your portfolio. That's why I'm part of that Discord that's over there. Like I said, links in the description. Code word doctor is going to save you on your first month sign up. And if you guys don't know about options, but you would like to learn about those options, man, when we really do start to see a shift, we can do things like use put options to help us out on the way down. And then we can also use put options in a different way to help us on the way back up. And we can use call options to help us out when things look like they're turning down. We can also use call options in a different way to help us on the way back up. And those are all the sorts of things that we talk about in those workshops. This workshop coming up is for the absolute beginner. Like I said before, so what are options? What are they all about? What can they do for me? What risks do I need to be aware of? And all the way to the point where you're ready for that first, okay, I'm ready to try out some call options. I'm ready to try out some put options. Going long on those things, by the way, buying calls, buying puts. The selling side is for the second workshop because they have some different risks associated with them, some undefined risks that would absolutely have to be discussed in more detail. And I'd rather people get their feet wet and get a little bit more comfort and understanding with the long side of options where the risks are at least capped before we get into the other side of the option side of things, where you can actually generate some pretty lucrative income generating strategies and then some other strategies that are out there as well. So guys, let me know what you think. NVIDIA, Palantir, SOFI, are they going to continue de-risking, or have they just hit a quick rip down and then tomorrow in the next few days, we're just going to see them go back up to where they were? Is this a moment where we see just a little bit of a shift in the near term, some de-risking until the Jackson Hole Symposium, and then we recover? Are we going to see this carry on through September? Is it part of a bigger movement downward? Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of my commentary, guys. Otherwise, I'll see you over in the workshop. Hopefully you sign up and catch those seats while they're still available. The link is down in the description. And then also, if you sign up for the bundle, that link's down there as well, and it's labeled for you. Code word SAVE is going to save you 40% off of whichever one you choose. And so it does give a significant discount to those prices and makes it even more worthwhile. And then otherwise, I hope I see you in the Discord. And then the last thing, thank you very much for watching. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning. We'll see you next video.